Welcome to the Wager Makers Podcast with Web and Smitt.
Brick by brick, baby. I'm freaking out, Web.
I was told there'd be no man. Stupidity's going to be an asset. What a bunch of crybabies.
Hello, my name is Steve Smith, and this is Rob Weber. Say, hey, Web.
Hello. What's up, Smitt?
What's up, Web? I'm Smith, that's Web, and we are the Wager Makers. Thank you all for listening. We got a big show tonight, all kinds of, we got Monday night games, we had Tuesday games, we got Thursday night game coming up this week, college football. Teams are dropping out. Teams are throwing in a white flag. I don't know. Playoffs are coming up. NBA's starting.
College hoops
going on. All kinds of cool stuff. Web, this is Wager Maker Podcast number 73.
73, Smitt. Brick by brick, baby. Once I thought about, I didn't think I had one, and then as soon as I thought about it, came right to me the great Larry Allen, the left tackle for the Cowboys, Hall of Famer. Could be the best offensive lineman in history. At one point was the strongest man in the league based on the bench press. It was like 800 pounds or something ridiculous like that. And hailing from, Smitt, I don't know if you know this, but the football factory of Sonoma Valley State.
Did not know.
Yeah.
I figured I'd let you take this over because I think Larry Allen's probably the clear choice for number 73. Certainly his whole career was known as the best offensive lineman in the league at the time. You know, so no arguments on 73. You had two Cowboys in a row. I think that comes out.
Yeah, we have we got another. I got another one for next week for you too.
All right, well, let's not get carried away with that shit.
Yeah, we can do them all. I could have given you 70 too.
We'll see how. All right, as you might have noticed, I am not in my usual studio that I'm usually broadcasting from. No backdrop like I usually have. I'm in a hotel in Asheville, North Carolina. My wife and I are taking a little road trip. So this is dedication, Web. Dedication.
Yeah, listen, man, you're on the COVID-19 tour. You're spreading COVID-19 as wherever you can, and I appreciate that.
We got masks on. We're socially distanced everywhere we go. Take out food orders, all that kind of stuff. But just
vaccines coming.
Yeah, vaccines coming. Can't wait to stick my arm out for that.
Hey. Well, hey, no, listen, man. Like you said, you're dedicated. You got to do it well. I'm surprised you're not doing it in the car.
If I had to do it in the car, Web, I'd find a way.
Yeah, right.
So if you're wondering why I'm looking all over the place, I got my computer's over here. That's where I can see Webb's face at. My camera's over here. That's where if something happens, I got it all propped up on different things, so it's somewhat at the right angle and the right height and shit. If it flips over, you're gonna end up seeing Sharon over there watching TV in the bed over there. So hopefully that doesn't happen. But they can't see you now. You don't have to wave.
No one's watching. Right. No one's watching.
Yeah. So what are we worried about?
Right.
So, Web, a lot of stuff went on this week. Where do you want to start? All kinds of shit.
I don't know. You want to kick it off with the Big Ten? You want to start with the NFL?
Let's start. We can start with the Big Ten. How about that? Lots of contrarian views on this. I got a lot of people. It looks like, Web, I texted you early this week. Kirk Herbstreit, on College Game Day, last Saturday, maybe even the Saturday before, mentioned that he feels like there's a good chance Michigan is going to try and duck Ohio State this year. We had special rivalry episode a couple weeks ago here on the Wager Makers podcast. Ohio State, Michigan every year, biggest one of the top rivalries forever. In all of college football.
Woody Hayes and Schembechler back in the day.
Sure, and looks like it won't be played, but Kirk Herbstreit was kind of leading on like they're doing this on purpose, Michigan, to really screw over their rival Ohio State. Ohio State right now, I think they only have 4 or 5 games that they've played so far?
They're going to be one short. They're going to at this point they'll be one short of the arbitrary 6 that was set out by the shabby ass Big 12 conference post everyone else. I mean, the only conference that was worse was the Pac-12, I guess it is at this point. So yeah, they came out with that arbitrary number after everyone else showed them that you could play, that you needed 6 games to play in the Big 12 championship, which has no bearing anyway on the CFP, the college playoffs. Right. So it was just a matter of pride at that point or whatever for Ohio State to play in that conference championship.
Right. But the thing is, so a lot of people now are saying, well, you know, how can you possibly put a team that's got 5 games in the championship when you got teams like Florida that have 1 loss, but they're ending up playing 9 games. Texas A&M, I think they got 1 loss. They're going to end up playing like 9 games. Other teams playing all these games. And, you know, Ohio State, like they would like to play this 6th game, and that would have made them eligible for the Big Ten championship, and then the Big Ten championship would have gave them 7. They could have been 7-0, and then there's no real argument. So the argument against, but the Big Ten dropped the ball on this whole COVID thing from day one.
Yeah, well, now they went back on so now they're going to play it. So now they're going to end up playing Northwestern, but now it's only, I mean, what's the difference? So they're going to play 7 games against a shitty, there was a 30, I think the spread was like 32 points, something like that. They're going to slaughter Michigan. Michigan wanted no part of it. Michigan wants the season over. They're already talking about Harbaugh's exit, how they can get out of it. They didn't want no part of the season. They, if they could rewind the clock, they wish this whole season never even.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that argument fails to me. I don't know how an A&M team or, the eye test, you're going to play those 5 teams. Let's see who they play type thing. But anyway, so now you're going to, even at that point, so once Ohio State goes and slams Northwestern, is that still going to be enough at 6 games or 7 games, as ever they get to, versus the other team that played 9? I mean, they were going to be 2 games short no matter what. They played 2 weeks later or whatever the number was. So right. I don't know. I mean, you look at me, I'm going to tell you that right now that Florida, anything could happen on any given Saturday, but Florida and A&M are not as good as Ohio State.
I agree. I go by the eye test. To me, as a football fan, I want the best 4 teams in the playoffs. And that to me is Ohio State at this point, whether they play 4 games, whether they play 5 games, whatever. I don't care that somebody's got, like, somebody brought up, I was talking to some guys, John Forcade, former Saints quarterback, on his Facebook page last night, and we went back and forth about this a little bit. He's adamant that Ohio State should not have a chance to get in this thing. And he even brought up teams like the Cincinnati Bearcats that are going to be 8 or 9-0. And I was like, and when I say Ohio State is better than Cincinnati, regardless,
right.
He's like, well, anything can happen on any Sunday. Ask the Steelers the other day. But 8 out of 10 times.
That's not the point.
8 out of 10 times, Ohio State would beat Cincinnati. Maybe 9 out of 10, maybe 10 out of 10. But regardless, even if it's 7 out of 10, they're better. They're better.
Right. At that point, you can say, then why is anyone getting? I mean, why would Alabama could lose to those teams, or whoever number 1, Clemson could lose to those teams?
I don't want the teams. I don't want the 4 teams with the best resume. I want the 4 teams that are the best. The 4 best teams.
The teams that might lose, that might win, they're going to get lampooned. I'm going to tell you what, right now, Notre Dame is. That's a team that I would look at. Kick them out.
Well, I don't know, dude.
You're going to look at somebody.
They might. What happens if Notre Dame's going to have a chance to beat Clemson twice? Chance to beat Clemson twice. I said that earlier in the season. They're playing better and better. To me, they're a good team. But Clemson, man, their defense has not impressed me, even at that special game. But let's look at the other. Well, first of all, let's grab a couple of other teams that are this. Michigan seems to be throwing a towel. Herb Street, there's the Wager Maker Express coming through. Even in Asheville, North Carolina, you can Wager Maker Express. The Jersey Shoreline coming through in the background over there. But even Herb Street mentioned that like he thought Michigan was going to do this on purpose, just to screw over the arch rivals Ohio State. Obviously, Herb Street has a horse in the race. He's a former Buckeye himself, so he's got bias on his own. But this is something that's been going on for a few weeks now, brewing in like behind the scenes. Michigan almost talking about, what do we have? What's in it for us to play Ohio State and get our ass beat with a lame duck coach that's getting ready to leave the building? And it reminds me a lot of what happened with LSU last week. LSU, Alabama, LSU, I think they tried to do everything they could to not play this game. They got guys transferring. Now this season has ended up so crappy for them. They got guys leaving. They're gonna have issues. This affects your recruiting moving forward. Getting beat by your arch rival, getting your ass beat, even 1 year coming off a national championship. It has big ramifications moving forward.
Yeah, well, first of all, Michigan, Kirk Herbstreit is a former Ohio State guy, so he obviously he was calling this shit a while ago. Michigan, the season's a disaster. It's horrendous. The Harbaugh whole experiment has been awful, and this year just completely imploded. They don't want to play, but they can't. There's how many other teams if there's no it affects every other team. There's money involved in terms of the championship game, so they need that game. They need Ohio State to get into the CFP in order for that, whatever the phrase is, high tide lifts all boats. That means every team, Rutgers lacrosse team, Northwestern's women's soccer team, they get all the benefits of that. So to say that wasn't going to happen was a long shot. Anyway, I think I even read today some stuff where Indiana was going to line up to play Ohio State again because they have some time on their schedule. Even though they just played a couple weeks ago. There was another. I mean, I've heard someone say even BYU mentioned, or someone else, just someone else get on the schedule and do. I mean, it's going on in college basketball. North Carolina just scheduled a game, the Tar Heels, for Saturday today. I mean, that's unheard of. The schedules are done months in advance, so there's ways. Michigan could have tried, but I think in the end they would have looked worse than they already look, and it wasn't going to work anyway.
But to me, what is, what's worse when your arch rival, you're supposed to be going, Michigan is supposed to be going toe to toe with Ohio State. They haven't done it in 30 years probably since they've gone toe to toe, with Ohio State, and really been on equal footing as far as where the programs are. And where do you stop with throwing in the towel? And then the flip side of the coin is look at a team like BYU. We've been on BYU a lot this year, Webb. And they were on the outside BYU looking in this week. They did everything they could to play the game. They found out they were playing Coastal Carolina 2 days before the game, and we've been on Coastal Carolina all year long too. And that's a hard team to get ready for. They play crazy offense. The dudes in the shotgun. They got dudes running all over the place. I felt bad, but BYU was hungry. BYU got in there and played 2 days rest.
They see an opportunity. Where Michigan doesn't want to do anything. I mean, they know they're going to get slaughtered. It's going to be, I don't know if it's been 30 years since they've been on a decent, I mean, they've had some decent teams there, but Michigan at its worst should be a top 25, football program at its worst, so I mean, it's completely imploded. And yeah, I understand, like you said with LSU, they have wanted, what's in it for them to play the game? There's nothing in it for them. They're going to get embarrassed. It's going to hurt in every aspect. It's going to hurt recruiting. It's going to hurt the boosters are going to be furious, even more furious, whatever. LSU doing the same thing. LSU now just said hilarious. I was cracking up when I was laughing out loud at the gym. This thing, the LSU is they're gonna self-imposed ban on a bowl game this year. Woo-hoo-hoo. Thanks, guys.
Right.
Way to take one for the team. Is that? I was like, that can't be free.
Right.
They're like, oh, but everyone's eligible. You got somebody have 2 wins. Why would you? There's no fans. That was a joke. It's laughable. It's embarrassing for LSU to come out with that.
Right.
Embarrassing.
Self-imposed penalty for issues, I think, with the basketball team and with the football team. Self-imposed. They've been trying to get out of playing games for weeks now, months now.
Yes. Yes. They don't want to play. Right.
Right. So
and neither does Michigan.
Right. And I'll tell you, but this hurts these programs. And to me, LSU, man, this COVID thing went about as bad as it could have gone, coming off a national championship. Their team looks as bad as it could have gone. They got guys starting to transfer out. They got this tight end. Just announced he's going to go into the transfer the other day. One of the top guys.
Pros. He's transferring. That's right. Yeah.
Coach O, man, I think he's been partying up, dude. He's got pictures in bed and in a pool with Instagram models and all this other shit. This is going to fuck up recruiting. You're going to get a certain kind of guy at your place that doesn't mind Coach O, but any dude that's got parents involved in anything, they're not sending their kid to LSU at this point with Coach O there. It looks like it's a free for all. They run amok.
Yep.
They won the national championship one year, and it's crazy stuff going on. That should affect you.
Right off the rails.
Right. If you got a dude that's got some parents involved and where they're going to school, you want to send them to Nick Saban or Dabo Sweeney, or do you want to send them where Coach O, where he's laying in bed with the Instagram models? Where are you sending your kids to school? Your 18-year-old son to school in that situation, son or daughter? Right. Now that it's college football, it's son or daughter now. So where are you going to send him to school?
And Burrow got there just by luck. He didn't want to go there. He wanted to go to Ohio State. Right. He went to Ohio State. So
and even tried to go to Nebraska.
Yeah, right. So, they better watch, listen, they can't take the championship away, but obviously they were on a slippery slope, and that is not getting any better. And it just, like you said, looks worse and worse. And the only other team that I think wants to play less football than those two is probably the Dallas Cowboys, because they can do it. The coach can't do it. It's an absolute embarrassment. The worst, Smitt, Jerry Jones' worst nightmare has happened. The Cowboys are irrelevant. They got flexed out of a primetime game for the New York Giants, no less, and the Cleveland Browns. So maybe this will be the wake-up call. And then I was thinking about this. I have the solution. They're going to lose this week to the Bengals without Burrow, right? So then you fire. That's what you do. You fire McCarthy. Clearly, there's something he can't do it.
1 and out. You're saying McCarthy's 1 and out?
Not even 1. He's not making it. Whatever. It'd be 11 games. Fire him. I made a mistake. That's going to send shockwaves. Now Jerry Jones, the team is on the back. In the middle of the paper. Now we're the lead story again. Now we're back. Now we're getting flexed in just to see what happens next. what you do is you hire, you know who you hire? Urban Meyer. You hired Urban Meyer today or Monday. You fire the dude Monday. You hire Urban Meyer. Let someone else coach the team. Urban Meyer takes over. You leave these last 4 or 5 games to see anyone to buy him for the program. If they don't, get out. You're going to have with the 3rd pick in the draft. And either you find out what Urban Meyer wants, if he wants Dak Prescott or not, and that's your decision on who you draft.
All right, that's crazy words.
The 3rd pick back.
How much money does McCarthy get if he gets knocked out in the first year?
Did you see how Jerry Jones? You see where he's at the draft?
On his yacht.
You see the number 1 team in professional sports in Forbes again for whatever the 20th year in a row. He's got more fans than anybody in. It's not money. The dude's 70. He just turned 77 years old. He can't spend it anymore. He's got to prove that he believes his own bullshit. And that's the only way. He's got to send shockwaves. And
all right, we'll see how that turns out. That's bold words for the Dallas Cowboys coming up. I don't know what's going on.
He's got it. The program can start now. This is everyone's, half these teams are putting reset on this year anyway. So
how about for starters, when you're getting 7.5, 8, 9 points, can you have a field goal kicker that makes a couple kicks? The dude, Zerline missed 3 field goals last night.
They can't even snap the ball. How can you not? You don't know the clock's winding down? You can't call a fucking timeout? But the defense it's embarrassing. There's no one. The dude was like, he could have sat down, ate a sandwich on that touchdown. There was no one there. It was like Greg Williams. They won a 0 blitz. Are you kidding me? At some point, you have to pay for the results. You can't keep kicking the rocks. Oh, it's a play. We have a plan in place. No, you don't. It's not working. You're getting worse.
All right. So that's my
talking
about bad teams, talking about teams wanting to throw in the towel, college pros. Well, let's talk about little good gambling news happened last week, Webb. Sometimes things do turn for the good guys. I gotta say that.
Yes.
It doesn't happen often, but when it does, it's okay to take a little victory lap once in a while. Take a little bow. Take a little credit, pat on the back, whatever you want to do.
Sunshine. Yeah.
Let me set the table for everybody. Me and Webb and our buddy Mike Reed are in a big, huge survivor pool. About 10,000 people start the season. I don't know if I'm allowed to say this on.
Right.
I want to elaborate. So, but we're reach the point. Anybody who's in a survivor pool knows how difficult it is to get this. I mean, we're in week 13, 14, 15, something like that. We're at a point in the season where you have to take 2 teams, pick 2 teams to win.
To have to win to move on to next week. At week 13. So that's slim pickings.
I was pretty impressed with actually the teams that we had available. To be honest with you, I felt pretty good about it at that point.
Yeah. Right.
So we take the Minnesota Vikings just at home against to give you a little taste of where we're at. They fall behind 10 points, 2 touchdowns, something like that. I think, or maybe I don't know. Anyway, they go to overtime, right? They win the game.
Close, and it was lucky. Yeah, they missed a field goal, and then it was crazy.
Yeah, missed a field goal late in the game, but then they give them the ball back. Where they play Jacksonville. They had an opportunity to kick a 62-yarder, and thank goodness missed it.
Right. Mike Lennon was
Mike Lennon playing. I just like Mike Lennon. He's in Tampa Bay. He's not a bad quarterback. We had the ball
first too. We had the ball, the Minnesota Vikings, and then
went backwards. I think it was 4th and 20 something by the time they punted.
Yeah.
And I thought they were going to give him back the ball on midfield, like we're one first down.
They're texting back and forth. They're going to punt to give him the ball at midfield. Yep, exactly.
Somehow they get the ball back at the 20-yard line. We get a stop eventually, and then Minnesota gets a field goal to win. But that's the least. That's the least. Right. Our other team, Webb, the Las Vegas Raiders.
Correct.
The Raiders. Las Vegas.
The Raiders.
The Jets, without a win all season long, they are up on the Raiders.
Do not want to win a game. They do not want to lose that number 1 seed.
Jacksonville
has 1 win.
The Clemson quarterback sweepstakes. Jets are trying to win that.
Yes, right. We got Trevor
Lawrence. Trying to win the Trevor Lawrence sweepstakes. David Carr hits Ruggs, 50-yard touchdown pass. Third and 10.
0.5 seconds left. It was 49 yards. This is after we're winning, and we were losing.
The game was bad early. Right.
But we had to play out the clock. I'm like, oh, shoo. So then they throw the ball to Henry Ruggs, and he fumbles. The Jets get the ball back and score. So now they're up by 5 or whatever, more than a field goal, with 6 seconds left. So they get the ball. I think it's a 49-yard line, and this Greg Williams calls it all-out blitz, 0 coverage. That means it's just cornerbacks, on whoever, how many wide receivers
Man to man.
One
That's it.
guy on one guy. There's 11 guys or 7 or 6 guys, whatever, blitzing. This dude just runs past him. This guy quits on the route, the cornerback, and just into the end zone. No time left. I left. I got up. I left the bar. I'm like, fuck, we're done. I'm texting all these fucking bullshit, man, these motherfuckers. All kinds of nasty text, everybody. I can't believe we blew it. I get the text card coming back. Ding, 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 ding. And I'm like, and that's like the Jets. I'm like, I know. They finally, I'm just assuming. Like, I didn't read the whole thing. I'm like, oh, yeah, they won a game. Great. So I'm like, oh, what the hell? I text Smitt. I'm like, what happened? He's like, a bomb. I'm like, no way. So then, yeah. It's crazy.
And the funny thing was, the Raiders took over, like, took the lead, won the game. And then all of a sudden, I turn around and Minnesota's losing or whatever. Or Minnesota's over. We're like, what the hell? The game we thought we had won is lost, and now we got to go back and fight. And at one point, even you thought the Jets had won, and you sent us a text saying, "I just hope the Jaguars beat Minnesota, then it doesn't fucking matter."
Exactly.
And then we're like, God damn, that would be suck if that happened.
Yeah. So, I'm like, let's go Jags. I'm like, well, wait a second.
So obviously, Greg Williams. Couldn't happen to a nicer guy. Very involved in the bounty gate here in New Orleans. He was a defensive coordinator for the Saints when that went on, when Sean Payton got suspended for a year. Mickey Loomis, the general manager, got suspended. Williams was out of football for a while. Very involved in that and kind of dropped the dime to the NFL. I think made a little deal, if I'm not mistaken, to kind of get himself back in the league on that. And so to me, it couldn't happen to a nicer guy. The guy's a jerk. He gets fired though, but Webb, this dude has made his whole living on being an aggressive coach.
That's right.
Put pressure on the quarterback. I think the play earlier, the Raiders got behind the defense also, but that was on a more of a prevent type thing.
Right.
And a lot of people are saying that Jets are losing him on purpose. Now, to me, you don't fire the dude if you're losing on purpose unless you're just really trying to make it look good.
Well, so even today, there's all kinds of reports up here, and even on ESPN, that they're just still like reeling that, they were an embarrassment before, but even Adam Gase is now, this is like, that's something that doesn't, that's a unicorn. That's, they just saw the Easter Bunny, Santa Claus and fucking the Tooth Fairy hanging out. That never happened. So I don't know. And it is within his personality, like you said. He wanted to be the hard guy, the big dickhead, and say, I'm going to end this game. Bash, Carr to the ground here on this last play, but he totally got toasted.
Right, and even Scott Shanley, he was former Cowboys linebacker. He played for the Saints, and then he came to the Saints as a linebacker. Yeah. Played under Greg Williams for a long time. Actually stuck up to Greg Williams this week, and when everybody was bashing him, they had stats like when a team's up by 6 with this much time left, and like it's never been called before to have a cover zero in this situation.
Not once.
Never. Right. Never in 240 something situations of this.
Correct.
Nobody's ever called a defense like that
Going
in that
back
situation.
Into the 80s.
I mean, exactly for this reason, you don't get burnt deep. But
right.
and Shanley's like, look, we used to play that all the time in situations like that. We would go after the quarterback all the time. And what Shanley said was only we had cornerbacks that weren't so stupid to fall for a double move in that situation.
Right.
At some point you gotta as a defensive back, you gotta know nobody's behind you. The only thing that can beat you is what's behind you. So I don't know. It's a weird situation.
I mean, it's another bad look. The NFL's had several bad looks, even that Philly game a couple weeks ago. And then even Des Bryant, whatever night was that last night? So the dude, I guess the COVID tests were whatever, inconclusive or whatever that phrase is. So he goes out for warm-ups, hugs, 12, 15 dudes on the Cowboys, right? Before it's fucking tip-off or kickoff. Oh, well, your test just came back positive. Oh, really? And then he can't play. But meanwhile, he, like I said, he's doing the man hug thing, rightfully so. He played there for a long time, a lot of skins on the wall with those players. But how can you go out there with an inconclusive or whatever the phrase is, and then you actually be real close to these guys, shaking hands, hugging, and then when you don't know that you're definitely negative? I mean, we've been the biggest proponent of the NFL. So going way back for the summertime was just KBO, like the NFL's going to play. But there's been some hits here this past month that just, I don't know what's going on.
It's just weird. I mean, the season is crazy. It's 2020. I guess you chalk up some of this as 2020, the COVID, all this shit, trying to do shit. But if you're on top of this shit, how do you let the guy go out on the field with everybody else when he's got a positive?
What's the harm in just, dude, listen, man, you can't go out there. We're just going to wait for this test to come back. Sorry.
All right. So the Jets, some teams are losers. The Jets are losers.
They know
That's
how
just
to
the
do
way
it.
it is. The
They
Houston
know how to
Texans
do it.
this year, they're losers. They get on the goal line to the Colts within 2 minutes, fumble the ball. Just the way it goes. And the opposite end of the coin, Webb, the 72 Dolphins, they were able to bust out the champagne bottles this year.
Look at that.
Every year, the only undefeated team ever in the NFL. And, the Washington Redskins really put it on the Steelers this week. It wasn't a fluke. Washington plays good D, real good front four.
They got 5 number 1 picks. Yeah, they got a good defense.
Alex Smith, good, solid, game. At this point, he's more of a game manager, but he knows the game. Good, made the plays that when they were there, and they beat the Steelers. That's it. They out-physicaled them at points, I thought.
They did, and the Steelers have shown some warts, going into this, but you better be lucky than good every day of the week, and everyone, no championship from Devon's softball to my dart championships to the Super Bowl. Now there's luck involved. The luckiest team is going to be the team that wins. So the Steelers have gotten lucky, but they've been also good to get whatever. But hell of a game. The NFC East, these two teams, the Giants are playing well too. To go in, there's no easy. And Smitt, you know what? Because I was debating real hard between taking the Raiders and the Seahawks in suicide. So it worked out well. And then
right, like we said, we had to take 2 teams this week, and it came down to we had 3 teams to pick from, and you left the Seahawks off. It worked out good because we might be able to use the Seahawks this week, I think.
I got this. Yeah, we're going to go the Seahawks and maybe the Titans this week.
But the G-men, all of a sudden, Washington and the Giants are playing good physical, hard-nosed football. And the NFC East, we've made fun of it all year long with the Cowboys. And now,
it's still a joke. No one's going to get to 7 wins.
No, but they're playing better when you're knocking off teams like the Steelers and the Seahawks.
Correct.
They're playing
on
ball
the road
now at least.
Yeah.
All that matters, it's more important to be playing good at playoff time than it is.
And it just makes the Cowboys look worse. The Giants did it without Danny Dimes and then Saquon Barkley. The Redskins did it with, they're doing with Alex Smith, who this time last year didn't know if he's going to have his fucking leg amputated. Their running back, Antonio Gibson, I think is the dude who had 3 touchdowns on Thanksgiving. He got a turf toe early on in the game.
Early on.
Right. So it's not like, and the freaking coach had cancer. So, there's a lot of excuses. It just makes the Cowboys look that much more and more
well, I don't know if this makes you feel better. We can stay in the NFC East and talk about the other team in there. Now they got Carson Wentz benched this week. I think they're going to let Jalen Hurts get a little run. Get a little run against the Saints this week. Any thoughts on that?
That's a disaster. I don't know why they would do that they had their share of injuries as well, like everybody else. And I think maybe they just put too much on Wentz's plate kind of type thing. We all remember he wasn't there those landed. He played well in his Super Bowl year, but he was someone who brought it home. He's always running around. He leads the league in turnovers, I believe. And they had the controversy with Nick Foles. They kind of get that away. You give the dude, you guarantee him $20 million. Then you draft a quarterback from Alabama, a championship pedigree in the second round. You just got out from under one current trade another one. It couldn't happen to a better team. It's, maybe the Giants or the Redskins, but they're in a big. That's a world of hurt because that's $100 million you cannot get out from under.
Yeah, where do you go from here? First of all,
you're talking years.
I don't know. Is Wentz done? Unless you can find somebody to trade for him. But at this point,
but you're still going to take a hit. It's still going to be a huge hit.
With Wentz, it's almost like a confidence thing. It's like he's got the yips or something.
Right.
And dude didn't all of a sudden probably 3 years ago, there's a consensus that he's one of the better quarterbacks in the league. He can move. He can throw. He understands the game, and just like that, it's almost like. Man, this guy's damaged goods or something.
That's what I'm saying. They put too much on his plate. Yeah. And then, the one thing I was reading today, they said he just needs to see the ball go through the hoop a couple of times. And I think maybe when they, with last year, maybe he had to make free throw every time when there's only one, when there's only eye on first type thing. And now here we are X months later and he's still got to do the same thing. And maybe it just kind of caught up with him. I don't know. We'll see how it plays out. I don't know that Jalen Hurts is going to be a long-term answer here, but they're locked in with Carson Wentz. Even to trade him, you're locked in for a couple until 2022 probably. you're not going to be able to even any way, shape, or form swallow that number and be competitive.
Right. Maybe it'll do us some good just to sit out and watch a little bit, watch the end of the season, start from scratch next year and say, yeah, it's an open competition, but he kind of and for Jalen Hurts, I mean, now, like the Saints, look, they're not notoriously a good defense, but they are the number one defense in the league this year. And it's like throwing them to the wolves.
Our top team in the NFC. Yeah, I mean, this gets to the tough spot for Hurts, and I don't know if that plays into it either. Maybe they didn't want to jog Wentz out for this game.
One more day of beating down his confidence.
Right. I mean, they really never come back from it. And they're another team too. You're going to throw the Eagles in there, especially the way the Giants and the Reds. Let's just get out of the season, please. Can it just end already? So and then at the same time, they'll get to see what they have in Hurts. Even maybe Hurts can be something as a little bit of a trade bait type thing, and you get in a legitimate number 2 behind Wentz, and it could be his team. I saw a couple of guys, Fletcher Cox and someone else came out in his defense today. But when I used to work down in Philly, they just said he was a dick. He was just a real arrogant douche. And I don't know if it's from, he's kind of a small town kid. Maybe he just couldn't get, was shy, but that's not how it came about. So we'll see what happens. Unfortunately, I'm not rooting for him.
Well, we'll see how it pans out. So we're moving on. We got NBA camps are going to start. James Harden.
Yes.
Houston Rockets apparently does not want to be there. Didn't show up to camp.
Right.
And then it said something about COVID or something. And then he's taking Instagram photos all around.
Always.
Big parties, all kinds of shit. We even had a stat last year. I remember something about if it's a town with real good strip clubs, James Harden doesn't play. They don't cover.
Yeah, right. Bet against him. Exactly. But now they said something today was he has to pass 6 COVID tests before he can get back into camp. So he's not coming. What that means is he's not going to camp. So I heard today around here they're going to trade Ben Simmons or something. They wasn't going to. The Nets were to talk, but I don't know how first of all the Nets would do that. And why anyone wants to play with Kyrie Irving is crazy. I don't know if you saw he just came out and said some more bad shit on about LeBron James, who won him a championship. But I don't even want to talk about him. He said the earth was flat on. It's crazy. But James Harden to the Sixers is now the hottest thing. Daryl Morey, who was the GM of the Rockets, is now the president, basketball operations for the Sixers. So they're talking, initially they were talking Simmons for Harden, and now they're saying Embiid for Harden because they definitely could think that Simmons could play with Harden because Simmons don't need the ball.
He's definitely ain't shooting. He definitely ain't shooting from the outside.
He's been in here 5 years. He took like 7 3-pointers.
Right. And earlier on, they talking about Brooklyn a little bit. And you brought up Kyrie. Why does he even get airtime? He was like, he was going to shut down the media. He said, like, who listens to Kyrie? He's a tag along everywhere he goes. That's all he is.
It makes noise. First of all, he's always hurt.
Oh yeah, KD and Kyrie don't want to play together. Kyrie, like, I don't think KD's sitting around going, man, I'm not going to play unless Kyrie's around.
Right. He wanted to move to New York. That's all it was. And he went to play for the Knicks. And then, I mean, I don't know. He never played. How can you bash LeBron? It's just it's ridiculous you want to say something, like say with Michael Jordan. You want to say Michael Jordan was an asshole in practice. He demanded the ball. He was always yelling at me. Okay. You still won 6 rings. So whatever. I don't want to hear it. Steve Kerr and whoever else, John Paxson, whatever. You got to take some abuse to get those rings. And same thing. I mean, you don't even hear that stuff about LeBron. He's always like trying to. Dude's like an NFL tight end. He'll play point guard. I think he led the most assists in the league or something. It's crazy. And to go out against LeBron, it's infantile. It's just stupidity.
I never understood why Kyrie gets so much. Like he gets treated like one of the top upper echelon dudes.
He didn't even play in college.
He's nothing. All right. Do we miss anything? Let's get some picks pretty soon. We got some games coming up. You want to get the picks, or we got anything we forgot?
I was talking about Kyrie and Puke, where he went to college. Surprisingly, shockingly, Coach K, the Rat, comes out today and says, "I don't know why we're playing at this point." Meanwhile, it's the first time Duke has lost 2 home non-conference games in like 30. Now he don't want to play.
Right.
He just lost. Illinois beat the shit out of him last night. But now he's like, I don't know. We should probably rethink this.
What are we doing here?
Yeah. Now you don't want to play. You're not the number 1 recruiting class, and you don't have, the best. There's no Zion.
Illinois got some tough young guns. I wish they would have showed up and played when I bet them a couple days ago, and instead they show up and beat the crap out of Duke in Duke.
I'll take that. Cool.
Well, let's go over real quick some of our.
All right, let's get on.
Well, real quick, we got 2 left in our Survivor still. You and Chad. Also, in our wager makers, college football pick'em, Lil Saint the GOAT is still in first, but I want to say last week I did go 7-3, even though I'm still kind of sucking in that. Webb, you're in second place with 6 behind Lil Saint the GOAT, so you got some work to do. Gary's right there behind you, Todd Lewis, and then me. And we got Scott Wheatley, Reed's really fallen off. He's bound to Webb. Chad Arnold, the intern, they're way down. Yeah. Lil Saint the GOAT, the rapper, the beat master of the Wager Makers rap. And keep an eye out at the end of the show. The Wager Makers rap, C Really, and Lil Saint the GOAT. And just don't forget also Thrive Fantasy. If you use Wager Makers as the promo code, you get a matching bonus for all your money on there. Webb, you see any picks you want to go through this week? I tell you, I like the Thursday night NFL.
We're going to start with NFL. Yeah, just for complete transparency for my suicide, I believe I took Tennessee in ours. I don't have Seattle. I would have taken Seattle, but I took Tennessee.
Well, Thursday you have any idea who you're taking in the double whammy this week in the
Seattle? Tennessee and Seattle's in, but that's what I'm thinking. Seattle ain't losing this week for sure. So.
And I like the Rams Thursday night, Webb.
Thursday night, yes. I like the Rams too. That was an easy one that we agreed on.
Aaron Donald is not going to put up with Cam Newton shit. You're not going to have dudes throwing for 50 yards and running for 80 yards and winning games because of block punts and Bill Belichick and all this other shit. The Rams are going to whoop ass Thursday night. That's my.
They're playing. I mean, New England's playing well. They lead the league in non-offensive touchdowns, which is absolutely no shock. Another side note, I think Aaron Donald is second. You can get him like plus 250 for NFL Player of the Year. The favorite is T.J. Watt, who I think might be even money, and then behind them is Myles Garrett, who I don't think is going to get it because he missed a couple games because of COVID. But that's another good side bet, Aaron Donald for NFL player, defensive player.
All right, moving through. Do you like any NFL games stand out, or we can go?
Let's just want to go down the list. We can bang them out real quick.
Texans and Bears, I like nobody.
Agreed.
Okay. You already said, Webb, you think the Bengals are going to beat the Cowboys? They're getting points at home.
No way. Plus 3.5. There's no way. It's just ridiculous. That's just the Dallas Cowboys. There's no way there's no way. They don't need to throw the ball. You have to throw a pass. There's no way the Dallas Cowboys can win that game. I got a money line here plus 169. I didn't even money line it, but I'd probably bet both. Take the 4, buy it to 4 and money line it too.
Okay. So you're not just proving a point here. We're taking the Bengals this week.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're horrendous. That's the worst team in the league.
All right. Interesting game. Chiefs go to the Dolphins.
The Chiefs, I was looking at this one. The Chiefs are 11-1 or whatever the number is.
11-1.
I don't know that they need to really win this game, right? This is a tough one. I'm thinking punting, but I could easily see the Dolphins cover. I could see the Chiefs losing this game. I could see the Chiefs winning this game by 21 points. Right. So,
right. We'll punt. You know what I mean? That's a punt. Punt.
Right.
Okay. Interesting game. The Giants, we talked about them playing better. The Cardinals at 6-6 go to the Meadowlands, for the 5-7 Giants.
This is where I stopped drinking the Kool-Aid on the Giants. I think they've played well. They've won 4 in a row. It's not easy to win 5 in a row at any point, much less when you're not a very good football team. Their defense does have a couple of decent players. There's just too many players. Again, I'm not saying Arizona's all that good, but they haven't been playing well. They're due, and the Giants are due on the other side. So I like the Cardinals in that one.
All right, I'm pretty neutral about this one. This is only like a 2-point spread they're showing right now, so I'm okay with taking the Cardinals. I don't really have a strong feel on that one. Interesting game in the NFC. The Vikings go to Tampa. Tampa was off last week. We talked about the Vikings they got off to a slow start. They had that bad loss to the Cowboys, but they've won, I want to say 4 or 5, something like that. Buccaneers, their last game was against Kansas City. That tough loss against Kansas City. They've really not impressed, but maybe is it possible they got better in the bye week and worked on some things they haven't been able to work on? We've tried to be with the Bucs so many times and they let us down a handful. So I don't know what you think about this game.
I like the Bucs. Yeah, the answer to those questions you just answered are yes. They're going to get better. They're going to come out and play well here. Their defense is going to play well. 6.5. It's under a touchdown. I'm going to buy it to 6. I like the Bucs here all day long.
Okay. Minnesota's won 4 of the last 5. Like I'm further than that, but
so they're due to lose.
If you like the Bucs, we'll go with the Bucs. Broncos go to the Panthers. I don't even see a line for this one. Both teams are 4-8.
I don't see a line there. I don't see a line on that other one either. The Giants game either. So
All right. They're probably still waiting to see Danny Dimes is back.
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting game, Webb. You talked about the Titans really laid an egg last week.
Yes.
They go to the Jaguars. We should say they're playing a little better with Glennon. I don't know if Glennon to play or the other guy, our man.
Glennon is playing. Nishi's done. Glennon's playing. 7.5 is the number here. I'm going to stay away from it just based off the investment that we have. I'm going to be so leveraged in terms of what's going on with that other pool, so I'm going to stay away. But I mean, Tennessee's going to win the game.
I think Tennessee wins this game. I think they bounce back. I think if you can get it at 7 instead of 7.5, I think they easily get a touchdown. Jaguars have played a lot of teams tough, but in the end, they're 1-11.
Correct.
And Tennessee now, after that loss last week, they're 8-4. They're fighting for everything.
It's a much more meaningful game. Again, at this point, Jacksonville can still somehow come out of here tanking for Trevor, at least tied with the Jets. If they do not want to win this game. I don't care what anyone says. It does not help them in any way, shape, or form to win. Glennon's playing better. He's playing for his next contract to be a backup somewhere. Maybe get a starting somewhere. But again, like you said, you can, a lot of moral victories for them lately, which is cool. We're great, whatever. But at the end of the day, it's about dollar bills.
Yeah, I think they found the Jaguars have found their second string quarterback of the future.
Right.
Something like that. Okay, moving on. The Colts. This is an interesting game. The Colts go to the Raiders, and they're favored by a field goal. Raiders coming off. We talked about their big win. Colts 8-4 coming off. They won last week.
Yes, I think they did. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that was the game against Houston. Kind of pissed it away.
I mean, this is a tough game. -3 here. I think they both need it. I don't know that the Raiders are ready for prime time. I mean, you gun to my head, I'll lay the 3. They're just better team, better defense, much more consistent. But we could pass on this one.
I think we punt on this because I like the next one. We talked about the Seahawks getting knocked off. Webb, a Jets team, you don't come back.
They're going to murder this team.
You don't come back from a game like that. You don't come back the next week and play tough again. When you're 0-12 and you gave it everything you got and you were in a position to win and you didn't get it done on the last play of the game, and now you go to Seattle.
Right, on a plane.
From New York all the way to the West Coast, and you're playing a team that lost and a game they should have won last week. 2 touchdowns easy. 2 touchdowns.
And who's now in a dogfight with the Rams. This game they cannot make this line high enough. You can't do it. They're gonna 35-7, 35-3, 13, 42-13.
Yep.
They're gonna murder the Jets. This is not even going to be close. This is going to be a bad one.
It's funny because right now it's showing 13.5, and I don't think there's ever been a day when there's been a spread that high that me and you both said, listen, this is a game that we're taking this.
Right. I might bet this one.
I was going to say, listen, when we get off the phone, we might do it now before it gets to 14 or something.
Right. Exactly.
All right.
Exactly.
Moving on, Webb, the Packers, the Lions, they always seem to have weird games. Packers are laying 7.5. We were on the Packers last week over Philly, and they were able to. The Aaron Jones got us that big late run. It's not always bad news. I don't just remember the bad beats sometimes, but that Aaron Jones run for no reason at the end when they were running out the clock goes like 80 yards for a touch.
Right.
But it would have been almost as bad a beat as when the dude runs back a punt to cover, which is what Philly almost did too. So what do you think about this game?
7.5. I mean, Detroit's not winning this game, but it's always weird that I think they fired the coach and they won the game, right? Detroit's just not a good team. They just don't have good players. I mean, they got that good receiver. I'm going to stay away from this because I don't know. I mean, the Packers could put this in cruise control. This could be a backdoor cover or something like that. Packers have their eye on a much bigger prize here. I think they know in the back of their, Aaron Rodgers, at least in the back of his mind, knows, listen, if I got to do some shit in the fourth quarter, we'll get out of here with a W. I'd punt, but I would take the Packers.
Right. Let me look at the total on that one. See where we're. Well, that's 55. It's fairly high. I thought maybe we'd catch one at 51 or 52 and say, well, let's go over with it.
Right.
Next game, we talked about Jalen Hurts. He's playing at home against the Saints. Saints playing lights out on defense. They got Taysom Hill running all over the place, throwing all over the place. Laying 7 on the road, though, which could be
7 and 44. I mean, 7's a big number there. I don't. 40. He just tells you that 44 points is crazy. I like the Saints, man. They're better than at the quarterback position, Taysom Hill's better than Jalen Hurts. They're better at the receiver positions. They're better at the running back position. They're better on the offensive line. They're better on the defensive line. They're better at linebacker. They're better at defensive back.
Fair
and they're better
enough.
at coaching. Right.
Oh, just hold on to the ball. Just hold on to the ball.
Right.
All right, moving on. We talked about the Redskins playing. Sorry, the Washington football team, team formerly known as that. So they're playing the 49ers. 49ers looked bad the other night. I thought they bounced back a little bit when they beat the Rams a week ago, and then they come back Sunday night or Monday night and get really handled by the Bills. We talked about Washington playing better, but what do you think about this game?
This is another one of those teams where, you have your year last year when everything kind of broke right. John Lynch is the greatest GM. Shanahan is the next upcoming star, just like his dad. You made a great trade for Jimmy G, and you did all these great things on the defensive line. You even made this move for Richard Sherman, and it's, the savvy defensive back plays off for you. They don't want, they're done. The only guy playing, Nick Mullins is trying to play for his career. I think when Bosa got hurt, it just really took all the steam out of them. They do have good defensive players, a good defensive scheme. This is a long one to say. I'm going to punt or take the Redskins here, or the football team here.
All right, I think maybe that's a punt. I was looking at the total, very
43.
low. I know both of these teams are really good defenses, but they're almost good enough. The offenses are bad enough where you might get some turnovers and some good field position.
Right.
Maybe just set you up for an over in that one. Maybe we'll take a closer look at that one later on.
Yeah.
It seems very, very low.
43 is low.
Moving on, Sunday night game. We have good game in the AFC. We talked about the Steelers. Man, the Steelers cannot run the football. They don't even try. And that was part of their issue against Washington the other night. Bills played really good Sunday night, Monday night, or whatever weeknight game they had this past week.
Right. What's the Bills' record?
What do you think about that? Bills are 9-3. The Steelers are 11-1.
Yeah, the Steelers. Well, what's his name is back this week? Connor's a running back. So I'm assuming they're going to try it and take some. This is a tough one. The Bills are good, and the Steelers, like we mentioned earlier, kind of had a couple of lucky breaks along the way. I don't know if they're going to come out here completely pissed off at what happened the other night.
Well, we thought that was going to happen. We thought that was going to happen the other day too. After they didn't play real well against Baltimore the week before, so we're like, oh, they'll bounce back and play better. And I think that offense is just, man, if they don't come up with the big plays, they have a hard time moving the ball.
I'm gonna go. Let's go over. Let's go over 45.5 on that one.
I like it.
Especially the way that Allen is.
Moving on, interesting game, AFC North. Yes, it is. We talked about the Browns last week. We didn't have the cojones to pull the trigger against who they played? Tennessee last week. That was the one that beat the crap out of Tennessee, right? Didn't really have the cojones to pull them in a big game. I talked about that. I had them the week before against the Jags. Had them the week before against that. Now they're playing at home against our arch nemesis, really the team that usually always gets the better of them, the Ravens. Can the Browns keep this thing going? Browns are 9-3, Webb. It's going to be their first winning season in many, many years. Their first playoff season in many, many years. Ravens don't look that great, and the line is like nothing.
Minus they're +1. The Ravens are not a good football team. That's the issue here. Now can Baker and those other guys get out of their own fucking way and
can they just
play
not
football?
lose? Can they just not lose
right.
the game?
Can they not self-implode? So that's the question. You have to take it. I'm not even comfortable going over with that Ravens offense. That's just,
I say we go with the Browns this week. We didn't have the balls to do it last week.
Okay.
They whooped Tennessee.
We're taking +1. Why not? There you go. Yep. Lose by 1 and we push.
Monday night. It's Monday night.
Yep. Done.
Right, so right now we got the Rams, Bengals, Cards, Bucks, Seattle, Saints over Steelers, and
good.
Solid 8 picks.
Perfect.
All right, let's hit the college real quick. I was going to give Marshall another chance this week, but their game got canceled.
So we got games when? Tomorrow night, right? I like FAU again, Florida Atlantic -8.5 at Southern Miss. I like that one. That's on my list.
Okay, down with that.
That Pittsburgh Georgia Tech. Tomorrow.
What do you think?
I don't have any feel. I thought Pitt was good early in the season, and then now I don't think so. But I don't think Georgia Tech is any good either. So I don't know.
We had NC State last week, and they covered over Georgia Tech, which is good.
Yep. Right.
And Pitt's had some tough games. The last game they got rolled by Clemson, but they beat Virginia Tech pretty tough. Before that, they beat Florida State pretty good, and then they had Notre Dame and Miami. So they've lost 3 of 5, but there's no harm in losing to Notre Dame, Miami, and Clemson.
Right.
And Georgia Tech, man, they have one thing going for them. Their quarterback Sims is an athletic player, and as long as you don't let him beat you, you can do something.
Yeah, I mean, -7. I got no problem taking Pitt if you want, or we could just leave it and see how we end
can
up.
Just leave it.
All right.
I was going to try Friday night. I was going to go with Marshall, but their game got canceled. There's a couple other games: San Jose State and Nevada, two pretty good teams. Arizona State, and North Texas, Utah. The Friday night games. I don't really have much going on yet. Arizona State is laying a lot of points at Arizona. It's kind of a rivalry game. Both teams don't have a win.
They both stink. I mean, that's Herm Edwards. Arizona State is a better team than Arizona. Now 11.5 points.
It's a double digit.
Right. But on the road doesn't really matter, especially out there. I don't know, man. I mean, I hate to say don't do anything, but
we'll come back. Keep an eye out for us Friday on social media. If we got some plays on Friday night, we'll
depend on what's going on in college hoops.
Right. What's the line? Do you have a line on San Jose State and Nevada?
San Jose State -2.5.
That might be a play. They're pretty good, but Nevada's solid. But when I watched San Jose State play a couple times, they got a couple big wide receivers that are good tight end. Yeah,
that's at 10 o'clock at night. That's a different. The other two are 6 and 7. We have to do.
Well, we'll see how desperate we are.
Be a double whammy, right?
That's
right. Maybe we get an early hoop game and then get on jump on the 10 o'clock football.
Right. Speaking of which, I think we're looking pretty good on today's plays at least. Finally.
I wonder. Yeah. All right. Jump into Saturday. You got anything that jumps out at you?
Real quick, I'm checking. While I got it out here, I'm checking the Xavier. What's going on?
Right. Well, I can kick us off here. Coastal Carolina is going to win by 100. We're taking them against Troy. I like, actually, believe it or not, I like West Virginia +14 against Oklahoma.
Oh, you do?
If you don't like it, we'll just hold it for a
I'll take 14. I'll take 14 all. Oklahoma screwed me last week, so I'll take, which means they'll probably screw me again this week on the other side.
Right, the other way. Right, exactly. I think I like Memphis +5 against Houston. Oklahoma State -5.5 against Baylor. Oh, where's Colorado? When is that game? Oh, did that game get canceled?
That was supposed to be during the night, wasn't
it? Shit, I thought that was a Thursday. Man.
That was one of the games I was thinking about.
That was it's on my, I got that circled, highlighted. Yeah, I guess it was canceled. Maybe that was Friday.
But that was a game that I thought.
Yeah, the Buffaloes. Yes. That pops up. We're going to take that.
So far I got written down FAU, Coastal Carolina, West Virginia, Memphis, and Oklahoma State.
Yes.
Oh wait, I got Saturday at noon actually. That's got to be early out in Colorado. Colorado, Utah. Colorado's -2.
Yeah, I'm more all over that. I don't have it here. Maybe I'll be at the bottom, but I haven't seen it. But I like that. They
got a couple MAC games, but they kind of screwed me over last week too.
Yeah,
I like MAC on Tuesday and Wednesday. I don't like MAC on Saturday.
Right, exactly. Right. Auburn against Mississippi State, 6.5. Thoughts? Mississippi State.
I like Auburn as long as they play. I like Auburn as long as they play.
Yeah.
You know, if they come to play.
All right, put that.
What about Florida State and Duke?
What's the number here? Florida State -5. I mean, I'm fine. Duke is down this year. I'm fine with that. I mean, but Florida State, it's anytime we're on them, I think it seems like they don't play well. And when we go against them, they play better.
What about Tennessee over Vandy, Webb? I know Tennessee's struggled the last little bit, but God, Vandy's
horrendous. They're horrendous. 15. They should be able to cover that for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Even being Tennessee.
No
doing what they do,
right.
They should. This will be their game. They all feel good about each other.
Party. Right, exactly. That's get the hype back going. The hype train.
Yeah. We'll be hearing next year about how the last game they played was they blew them out.
Right.
So all right, they got LSU, Florida. Florida's favored by 23, man.
I mean, you can't take LSU. I was gonna punt on that one probably.
Let's punt on that. Well, what about USC? Favored by only 2.5 over UCLA.
I did like that. I saw that. I like that one. Seems like I didn't like that much. Now I'm looking at everything. I like all this stuff.
Yeah. Sometimes that's danger though. I don't like anything, but I kind of would like these 20 games.
Everything a little bit, right? I like. I think Alabama. I'm not going to touch -32 against Arkansas. I like actually Missouri +13 against Georgia. And now tell me this: why is Wisconsin only -1 at Iowa? Is that quarterback?
I don't know. Do they have COVID issues of some kind?
I mean,
Iowa's 5-2, Webb. You know, it's not like they're. I know it's a Big Ten. It's a Big Ten 5-2. But what's Wisconsin but a Big Ten whatever they are?
I like Wisconsin in that game, and I like Michigan State +15 against Penn State. Who's Penn State?
Because they bounce back and beat Michigan and Rutgers or something.
Right.
Big deal.
Right. Good game, North Carolina and Miami.
That's going to be a good game. What do you think about that? I was going to ask you about.
Man, I just think Miami is too well-rounded for them. I mean, Carolina's good on offense. They got the 2 good running backs, and that's a 2 pro running backs and a pro quarterback. I just don't know about the rest of the team. Miami's got good, solid dudes all around. And what's his name? De'Ara King can make enough plays one way or the other. I like Miami, I guess. 68's way high, though.
I was just going to ask, what's the total on that?
I like the under. Oh, it's going to be 30 in the 30s?
I think they might. Them teams maybe. What's the total in the Alabama and Arkansas game? Alabama, man, they go over. They didn't let LSU score.
68. Yeah, 68. What's his name is playing well, man.
So they hit 72 against LSU, and
they just got so many dudes, man, that make plays.
I might like the over. Believe it or not, in the Alabama game, if you look at their totals, I mean they didn't hit it in Auburn, but man, they go high.
How many points do you think Arkansas?
20.
Yeah, and they go over.
I don't know. Right now, we got a lot of games.
Right. Well, that's down towards
12.
the end of it.
FAU, Coastal, West Virginia, Miss Oklahoma State, Colorado, USC, Missouri.
Yep, sounds good to me.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody. I'm right here from Asheville, North Carolina, Tar Heels lineup, but I will be not in come tomorrow. I think that's about it. I want to thank you all for listening. Tune in radio. John Groh, thank you for the bumper music. iHeartRadio.
Hi, this is Devin Weber. When you go on the Wager Makers podcast webpage, make sure to subscribe, hit the like button, and hit the bell to put on your post notifications. Thank you.
Hey, shout out Wager Maker Podcast.
Brick by brick, baby.
Yeah.
Here comes the Wager Maker
Here I go.
Express.
I hear y'all sick of losing money cause y'all don't know how to bet. Better hit that Wager Maker Podcast with Smitt and Web. They gon' show y'all how to do this. Take these notes like y'all some students. Y'all can't seem to pick them right. Well, tonight y'all lucky night. It's that Wager Maker Podcast. Wager Maker Podcast. Wager Maker Podcast. Your bookie getting sick cause we built this brick by brick. It's that Wager Maker Podcast. It's that Wager Maker Podcast. It's that Wager Maker Podcast. Come and place your bets with that WM Express. Let's go.